Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on when you're watching the replay or re-listening to this on Spotify, because Fly Nubian Money is now on Spotify. I am Dr. Lene Javette, and today's conversation is necessary. We're going to be talking about hip hop's damaging influence on Black women. Today's conversation is, of course, sparked by the recent passing of Enchanting. And pardon me while I read this stuff because I'm not a hip hopper, so I'm unsure. So I'm going to read this and then I'm going to introduce our queens who are going to be having this conversation today. So we're discussing the complex relationship between Black women and hip hop, addressing themes of hypersexualization, societal pressures, body image, and the influence of drug and alcohol. With the recent passing of rapper Enchanting at just 26 years old, it highlights the challenges that Black women face in the industry. We want to acknowledge her life and music while exploring addiction and some of the horribly toxic things that come as a byproduct of hip hop music. Prior to her death, Enchanting was signed to 1017 Records in 2020 per New York's Hot 97 radio station. She appeared on three compilation albums before she left the label in 2023. The rising star reportedly died after being taken off life support at a hospital. In a statement to the Shade Room, a representative from her management team said the 26-year-old was suffering from withdrawals and had overdosed. She came to my house the last 4 days to get clean. She tried her best and did everything, and I did everything I could to help her. She tried, the rep told the outlet. The name of her last mixtape was called Love and Drugs. And so today we're going to be talking again about the damaging influence of Black women in hip hop. I'm joined today by there's four of us total, three amazing queens. Athena Gardner, she's a CPA and a women's wealth coach. Dr. Alicia Watkins, she's a couples coach, psychotherapist, and college professor, as well as Aisha Verzi, who's a licensed financial services provider. Let's start out with, how does the glamorization of substance abuse and music videos or lyrics affect Black women? Athena, we'll start with you.
Well, I think the glamorization of rappers and the music does affect women. Women as a group, I feel, idolize and look to other women for their style, their sense of being, and really try to emulate images of the celebrities and rappers that they see. So when it comes to the images, the hypersexualization, we often see that trickle down into our youth. I was thinking the other day, I was looking at some of the girls in middle school and high school. And I remember when I was in middle school and high school, and I was just like, oh my gosh, these ladies look so grown. You know, they look so mature the way they're dressing. And I think that hip hop and the over sexualization of Black women have a lot to do with that. I also feel as though within that, it's almost like, okay, why do we need to have to even emulate that, right? Why do I need to dress like a female rapper all the time? Like, what I would like for us to see as a group is some range, which I feel like on an individual basis we do. But as a collective, I would like to see more range, like lashes just to go to school. Like lashes, I don't even have lashes on right now, you know? So
I don't ever wear a lot. Well, just the ones that God gave me. I don't like looking like Snuffleupagus. That's my own personal opinion. That's just for me. If other people like it, I don't be hating on what other people do. Just for me, I don't wear lashes. Miss Aisha, am I saying your name correctly? Aisha, okay, perfect. So, how has music influenced your own upbringing? Not necessarily hip hop music today, but we're just talking about how music influences in general. How has music influenced you?
That's a great question, Dr. Lejeanette. It's so nice to be here with all of you. What a privilege. Thank you so much. I'm just really just sitting out here looking at all of you and just overjoyed with just being here. So thank you for the opportunity. Yeah, music, it's amazing how, like we're talking before, music does affect you. It's incredible how the lyrics, even though you might not be thinking about it, it does affect your mood, the way you think, the way you feel about yourself. And growing up back home in Nigeria, I'm from West Africa, Nigeria, music is a huge part of our culture. We sing songs of praise, songs of celebration, and just songs of thanksgiving. But in today's world, it's so different. When I grew up, it was more of something of joy and celebration, and again, praise. And when we do that, we're laughing, we're happy, we're dancing, and it's also edifying. It edifies who you are. It celebrates who you are. It's not denigrating. It's not disrespectful. With today's kind of music, though, is so different. And I also don't listen to those music because I understand how powerful it is when those lyrics, what it does to you. But so grateful that growing up, the kind of music we listen to are the ones that uplift your spirit. Again, when you're celebrating life, you're thanking God, you're celebrating what God has done for you. So there's this joy that is not to disrespect your culture or yourself or others. That is not what we do with music. So that is what music has done for me personally, and I continue to stay on that lane till today.
I agree. Music has always been my go-to. Almost every morning I put my gospel on, so it sets the tone for my day, what I'm listening to. So my mindset is good and it's pure, and I'm ready to tackle the day. When I'm frustrated or irritated, I have a playlist I play for that. When I'm feeling like my heart is broken or I want to feel in love, I have love music. So music really does take us different places. And I want to talk about that with you, Dr. Alicia. But before I do, I want to talk to the chat. What are your thoughts on the influence of hip hop on Black women? And if you're a Black man in the chat, we can just make it. What are your thoughts on the influence of hip hop on Black people, right? Our conversation is Black women, but I think it can be broader than that. What do you think about it? And if you have children, do you let your children listen to hip hop today? Dr. Alicia, can you discuss the link between the societal pressures that are amplified by the hip hop culture relative to the music that we're listening to, the risk of substance abuse, over sexualization that's coming through the music? Can you address that?
Thank you, Lene. I mean, it's such a great question. I mean, we know that the glorification of these risky behaviors in hip hop, I mean, that's really what we're talking about. Like the issue with the substance abuse. I mean, it is promoted as a coping mechanism. And although I happen to teach a class on substance abuse, and 93% of Black women have no substance abuse issue. But, for that 7% that do, it just makes you wonder, like, what's going into some of these, the disconnect between the reality and what you see portrayed in real life. Now, the issue that I have with these images is that this promotion of irresponsible alcohol use coupled with promiscuous behavior, I think has detrimental effects. It's promoting this idea, especially for women in their childbearing years, this risk of fetal alcohol syndrome, which I think is a way more common instance than we know. It poses serious health risk for infants. And so it's not just a matter of individual well-being, it's this public health issue that needs to be addressed. And I think that women need to have access to accurate information and resources to mitigate some of these risks. And I think that this unhealthy promotion can have an effect on youth and people who consume this information. I also think that it just has an impact on your mental health, of course. Some of you all kind of alluded to it, Aisha, and even you, Dr. Lene, about how the music affects your mood. It affects, how you interact with the world. So it's just interesting. My first introduction into like acknowledging the influence of music on your subconscious mind in particular. I want to give a special shout out to Brother Panic. He was my initial teacher in the dynamics of subconscious mind programming, and I took his classes and all of that. And since then, I've been doing my own study on this. And I just think that we are powerful individuals, like all of us. And we create our own world through the subconscious mind. And now that you know this, you can understand how powerful music is in programming ourselves. So listening to what I would consider media controlled messages, it gets internalized, and we start seeing ourselves in this way, you know, and we start acting in ways where we're just running this program. It affects how we see ourselves, how we see other people, and it's played out in our daily world. So it's a simple concept of garbage in and garbage out. You are affected by the images and the messages that you receive. And I really think that the answer is just non-participation. We just need to not participate in it and instead focus our energies on things that help us achieve our God-given goals in this world. And I think if we did that, then, you know, media controlled, and I think the industry is contingent on attention, paying attention to it, consumer driven images. If we just stop participate on it and start focusing on things that, you know, give us life, things that are positive, you know, that is a way for us to kind of address some of these issues.
I think that everyone so far has done a great job in hitting on the different and various things, right? So again, our topic today is hip hop's damaging influence on Black women. I think that it is the drugs. I think that it is over-sexualization. I think that it is the body image, the image of the body, right? We're seeing a lot of the surgeries that are being done. So there's the self-image. There is just various stereotypes that are being played out through the media, through the music. And then there is the desensitizing that's happening through the music, because we're saying things, we're speaking certain lyrics because it has a good beat. Molly Percocet, we're just singing it, we're talking about it. And people don't realize that what they're saying is registering, because we know that you have the power of life and death in your tongue. So when you speak things, whether you're affirming or not affirming, that's resonating in your aura. So music has a way of desensitizing us, where the word bitch becomes cool to say. We call our friends, our sister girlfriends bitch because it's desensitized. They say it in the music. Going to get BBLs, it's natural now because somebody else has it. This person got it, so I need to have it too. Media, music, messaging, marketing comes to us through those things, and it happens to Black women, and it's happening to our youth because our youth have access to social media at a much younger age, so they're seeing it, and it happens to the best of us. Can we play that clip, the clip with Nicki Minaj talking about how and or why she got her BBL?
Or and remember, social media was just beginning when I started. So I was like everybody. I was a lot of people's guinea pig. I was one of the first people to be shitted on the internet, on social media, like non-fucking stop. Every day I would go on, and it was some new story, made up story, or bad picture, or it wasn't acceptable to have surgery at all or anything, even though, and at that time I had never had surgery. I had ass shots, which till this day I realize, even what I did, and even with me not consulting with anyone to do something like that, how insane that was. Like, it's not that you go to a doctor, a professional person. No, it's some random person.
Yeah, shorty in the Bronx.
Comes in. I was in Atlanta at the time. And actually what happened was I kept on being around Wayne and them. And at that time, Wayne, he always talking about big booties, and Wayne would have like a new chick in the studio every session. So it was always a new big booty.
Creative support. That's what I like to call it.
A new big booty there.
A muse.
Right. Actually, yes. Actually, it was. They were his muses.
You like to look to the side and see something with some ass sitting there while you're trying to come up with a line.
That's right. And
so How can we address the pressure to portray a certain image and encourage healthy coping mechanisms? What do you think, Athena?
Well, I think we really need to take a look at ourselves, because what's going to happen is this is an industry that makes a lot of money and is not going to change their business model to accommodate taste that is not going to be profitable. And we need to take a look at ourselves, right? Because if we're waiting on the industry to change for us to make these changes, to tune out these images, then it's just not going to happen. We need to change first, so then the companies and the corporations will adjust, because they will adjust to what is profitable. I would love for hip hop and Black women to get to the level of a Adele or Taylor Swift, where they can keep all their clothes on, do their talent, and go home. But unfortunately, there is a pressure to conform. Now, the solution would be on your individual level of wanting to curate the image that you want to present in the world and be respectable. But to be honest with you, we have other options of role models in the industry, like Rhapsody, or people who are fully clothed, have positive lyrics, right? Versus, I guess, would be the Cardi B's and the Megan Thee Stallion. So I think a lot of this is also a reflection of ourselves and our human nature and what we are paying into, because, to be frank, the corporations are just going to put money behind whatever is profitable. And if you're looking at Rhapsody's albums and mixtapes versus a Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion mixtape sales and pushing that image, you can see why they're choosing to do that.
I definitely personally feel and believe that it's a setup. I cannot think of any other genre of music that is as negative, derogatory, over-sexualized, blatantly disrespectful than hip hop music. It's not in country, it's not in pop, it's not in rock. Hip hop is the only music genre that is uber super disrespectful. Dr. Alicia, I'm looking for my question. In what ways does the portrayal of Black women in the music industry affect mental health? I have to believe us listening to these lyrics, watching this play out in videos, affects us mentally.
It's oppressive. It's oppressive to see yourself in this limited way. And it's so staggering and so pervasive. There's no range of images that you see in terms of women in hip hop. And it did not used to be this way. I mean, I am so fortunate enough to be there during the birth of hip hop. It was positive. It was Afrocentric. It was, it was something that was uplifting. It told a story about what was going on around us. It was really our voice to authentically talk about what was happening here. And since this is before hip hop became controlled, right? This was just pure coming out of a very unique setting for Black people to tell their story. Now it is so ultrally controlled that all you see is Black women, and not even just in hip hop. I'm talking about Black women in media. All you see is very limiting views of yourself. And yes, I mean, just think about just think about what Nicki Minaj just said. If you remember Nicki Minaj when she first came out, she was not over sexualized. Her lyrics and stuff, she was kind of straight. She had that weird hair. Her hair was colored in a certain way. She looked really authentic. And then all of a sudden she comes out with this album. I'm like, who is this lady? This is not how she originally presented herself. So that tells you that she had a hard conversation with somebody. Clearly she did, where she had to change who and what she is in order to be successful. It's oppressive. And yes, it has an effect on your mental health. I mean, listen to what she said. She don't sound empowered in that conversation with that man. She didn't sound like she was being authentically herself. She didn't sound as if she was actually putting out music that was congruent to how she felt inside. It sounded oppressive. It sounded misogynistic. Some of the things that she was around. And, you know, artists are very sensitive people. I don't know if you know who I went to performing arts school, and I'm in this kind of art world, but it's entertainers are very sensitive, and they can be, you know, they feel so much of their worth is tied to the attention, the recognition to people have, because it's so personal to them. And I can't imagine not being your authentic self, putting something out that you know is not congruent with who you are, and then getting accolades for that, for being inauthentic, for being what someone has told you to be, therefore you can be successful. I can't imagine how terrible that feels, not only for us to see ourselves in that way, but for these artists and what they actually go through. Yes, it has an effect on your mental health. I mean, just think about putting your self-worth on how you look. So that means that you're going to be happy if someone compliments you, not on who you are as a person. Oh, you're a very great person. You're a genuine person. Yes. No, they're going to compliment you on these superficial things. And knowing how empty you might feel inside, because you're like, you know what? The world doesn't see who and what I am authentically. And I get the pressure. It's a very dynamic situation. The entertainment industry is, you know, a business, and you have to be savvy in how you operate in this business. But the impact that it has on your mental health in the end, just the depression that can come with being constrained, you know, the anxiety that you feel because a bad picture of you, or people, what Nicki Minaj talked about, the negative comments that she got online. That is really a real thing that happened to her. You know, in all of these things, how can you feel good about yourself and feel sound and know that you are living your life's purpose when you have all of these constraints?
Erica Badu said it best. She says, I'm an artist and I'm sensitive about my shit. And that's the truth, right? I think any artist, I'm an entrepreneur, and I can say the same thing. Whenever you are sharing your world or your art with somebody, it can be sensitive, right? You also talked about early music. I'm going to reset. I'm in a hot second, but you also talked about early music, and it was very different. It was very positive. It was uplifting. Danette Mitchell says, when I was growing up, we had ratchet music. However, in the Black community, we kept it underground and elevated positive music. This is when we owned our own radio stations and music stores. I can remember listening to a Tupac who's going to give you a little bit of ratchet, but give you something to think about. Dear Mama or Brenda Had a Baby, KRS-One. So you have a nice mix. Today's music, it's all pop that P, look at my P, suck this, bitch that. Like, there's no love music. There's no community. Like I think it affects our relationships. I think it affects how men and women relate to each other, talk to each other. I think it affects our relationships, our ability to communicate, our ability to love. Music is so powerful and influential. Much like this conversation that we're having today about hip hop's damaging influence on Black women, right here on Fly Nubian Money, which we do every Monday through Friday at 1:00 p.m. Eastern. You can catch us here. And you can also get notified when we're live if you text the word Queens, QUEENS, to 87948. Again, that's 87948. You can also catch us on Spotify by searching Fly Nubian Money to take us on the go with you. Aisha, I want to come back and talk to you. Given your Nigerian background, can you share some cultural differences between the music scenes in Nigeria and the United States, particularly regarding what's allowed to be discussed on the airwaves and how it influences societal values? That was a mouthful. You might be a mute.
Sorry about that. That's such a great question. And just listening to Dr. Alicia talking about the mental, how it affects us mentally. And what you also just said, Dr. Linnea, about the way it affects you and then how it makes you feel. It's amazing to me that today as well, hip hop now has crossed over where it's now also affecting the culture back home where I'm from. I just recently had a visit back home, and I came back when I was there visiting, and some young people were talking, and I couldn't believe what came out of their mouth. And I know it's because of the hip hop culture and what they were listening to. They were literally referring to the African Americans with the N-word casually. I stopped them. I said, do you understand that this is unacceptable? But because of what the pop culture says, so they thought it was normal to speak like that. I was mortified, and I had to correct them that please do not speak like this. It is unacceptable. Again, because the music business doesn't care. They now are spreading all over the world, especially now in Africa, where our music for us was for praise and gratitude and celebration. Now it's becoming abusive. It's becoming abusive because you're watching as they're selling these products to them, and they're listening. Is now becoming what now they think it's okay. So when I went and I was visiting and I heard that, I literally stopped them and corrected. I said, no, we're not going to do that here. This is not what we're about, because you think it's funny, or you think that is what you watch, and as you're watching these videos, it is not who we are. So ladies, it is crossing over. And unfortunately, it's about money. At the end of the day, it's not about caring about who we are, that we are fearfully and wonderfully made by God and to be respected and loved and cherished. No, they just want to make money. They don't care who is damaged as this is happening. And but for me, I make sure that even when I go back and I tell my brothers back home and my nephews and nieces that they're not allowed to watch videos like that. Because this is not who we are. This is not how we were raised. This is not what our parents taught us. And that we have to stay true to who we are and not listen to those music, because we know it's not edifying. It doesn't add no value to your life. It only denigrates you. And now here you are calling your brothers and sisters that are from America the N-word and thinking it's normal. So it saddened me that was happening, but that is what's happening today. Again, we have to like you said, that we should make sure that it comes from us, Athena, that we should be the one making that move. We should be the one making that difference in our own homes, and making sure that we talk to our children and tell them that no, this is not part of our culture. This is something else. Somebody else is selling this to us, and we're buying it, but we were not going to buy it here. I'm hoping that is what we can do, as brothers and sisters in this space, that will make sure that we tell our children that no, this is not our culture. This is not how we're supposed to talk to each other or refer to each other, especially our women. An African woman, oh my goodness, she gave birth to the world. I said, you know how powerful you are. You give birth to the world. And now they're denigrating you with music by your own people, by your own boys and your own men, and think it's okay. It is not okay. It is not okay, because then you're allowing other people to look at you that way.
And what a lot of times what the youth, and we can say people, but mostly youth, don't realize is the verbiage, the language, the lifestyle, the drugs, the over-sexualization. A lot of this stuff, the people who are rapping about it, they don't even do that. Some of these people come from two-parent homes, good homes. They were like the life that they're rapping about, the image that they're portraying, they don't actually do in their real life. We're going to go to this video from Future talking about lean and the fact that he actually doesn't even use it. So let's cue that video.
Future regrets his influence on Juice WRLD, and the reason why will truly shock you. One of the first things that Juice WRLD told Future when they met up to make their 2018 record World on was that Future had influenced him to try lean. Juice WRLD told Vulture.com, "That's the first thing I told him." He was just like, wow. He kind of apologized. Future later reacted to this situation in an interview with Rolling Stone magazine, saying, quote, "When he told me that, I was like, oh what have I done? It really bothered me. It bothered me a lot. More than I thought it would bother me when he told me that. How many other 6th graders did I influence to drink lean? This really messed me up for a minute. It's all I could think about." Like, damn, what have I done? What have I done to other people? Regardless of his habits, Juice WRLD was one of the best to ever do it and will be remembered as such.
And so more accountability is definitely needed. More truth is definitely needed. More authenticity is definitely needed. I saw over in the chat, some people were talking about, what about the parents? Why are parents letting them listen to this music? Listen, I'm only gonna speak for myself. I was young once. My mom didn't know what I was listening to. You, as a parent, you can make sure that you listen to all the appropriate things in the car. You can put on what do they call it? Explicit types of blocks on your child's phones. You can take the TVs out your house. They still got to go to school, and their friends is listening to it. They still got to ride the bus, and their friends is listening to it. They still see YouTube. Like, it's everywhere. Athena, how has music influenced you growing up? So I think I remember you saying you're 33. So you come from a different era of music than I do. So let's do that. Tell me what you're listening to right now, and then tell me how music has influenced you.
Well, I have a very eclectic musical taste. I am from the Caribbean, so obviously reggae and dancehall is a very big influence from there. I also listen to classical music. I listen to hip hop. I listen to pop. I listen to ratchet music. I'm going to sit here and be honest on the panel. I do like some of the artists that we have in question. I do listen to Cardi B. I do listen to Megan Thee Stallion. But I think the difference for me, though, is it's just entertainment for me. And because I'm not living in that lifestyle or culture, I'm not as, I guess, susceptible to that. I think what happens, especially with children, or depending on the environment, if your environment is conducive already to poverty, to drugs, to baby mama, baby daddy culture, the things that the music is promoting, I think it makes you more susceptible to fall into the influence and the trappings of the music more so than if you're not. That's just not what my lifestyle or upbringing was about. This music, what I will say is I've definitely seen a stark negative contrast to what we're listening to now. Even though I cherry pick which songs I listen to, I remember I was listening to a Sexy Red song and I was like, wow, are we really getting that descriptive, like sexually and body parts and all of that? Are we really going to that level to talk about, buttholes and different kind of diseases and, not caring about love or anything? I just want the D and that type of stuff. So yeah, I think it's getting worse. I don't think, and to me, there's a difference between artists' creativity and you just trying to be like as nasty and violent and raunchy as possible. What I do like about Megan Thee Stallion is that even though her lyrics, depending on what you listen to, might be questionable as well, there is an artistry there, there's a rhyme scheme there, there's a flow, there's wordplay there. I can appreciate that versus it really looks like with some of the artists, Sukihana, you're just picking somebody off the street a lot of these artists aren't even writing their own lyrics. It's a whole other thing as well. You're just picking somebody off the street, putting them half naked and be like, all right, wrap this and like package that product to us.
Thank you so much for that. If you're just tuning in, this is Fly Nubian Money. You can catch us Monday through Friday at 1:00 p.m. Eastern. If you text the word Queens, QUENS to 87948, you can also get notified so that you know when we go live every Monday through Friday, 1:00. If you miss us live, you can also catch us on Spotify. Make sure that you search for the word Fly Nubian Money and you can find us there. You can also get free resources, courses, and more if you go to the link down there, flynubianmoney.com. Thank you so much to everybody who is here. Thank you to my queens on the panel and those of you over in the chat. If you have any questions or you would like our opinion on anything, this is the time to throw it over in the chat and we will try to get to your questions. Aisha, you actually brought up a good topic, when you were talking about how the American music, if you will, is spreading over into the continent. We see a trend where women are influenced by hip hop, often referring to themselves with negative and or derogatory claims. You said you're starting to hear the N word, you're starting to hear different things. Were these types of conversations, wordplay, usage over in that area before hip hop music, or would you say American hip hop music has influenced that change?
Definitely, the culture has influenced that change. That was something that I was never privy to growing up back home. As a matter of fact, a lot of the words that they use are foreign to me. I was like, what does that mean again? I have to actually find out what it means, because that is not kind of language we use back home, and we still don't. Anyway, my part of where I'm from, but the youth are the ones that are now using that. The older people my age, we don't talk like that, or we don't even know what those things mean or those words mean, because we were not raised that way. And the reason those words, I think, are not becoming mainstream again is because definitely pop music, the music that we have from here, some of the young ones that come to school here, they study here, they go back home, they take it with them, and then now watching it from YouTube or going online, they can have easy access to it, and then they watch it over and over again because the beats are beautiful. Because as Afro people, we have such incredible talent when it comes to music and the beat, but the question is the words that we use. We never spoke those kind of words before. The word with the N word, I learned about it when I came to the United States many years ago. But of course, now that I'm here for many years, now I hear it more often. So it saddens me that before it was very rare, but now it's becoming mainstream back home. It's like, wow, this is unacceptable. And do you know that as we were driving, when I was back home visiting just a few months ago, there was a bus that drove by as we were driving, and literally the company name was with the N word, spelled Nigga. I said, do they know what that means? Do they understand what it means? But I think because they think it means something good, something positive, because that is how they understand it back there, thinking we live in such a flashy life, it's fun. The only part that you will never see is the part that is derogatory, meaning the showing your body and your parts. That is not allowed. They will not allow you to show that. In the northern part of Nigeria, you can't see that common, like showing body parts naked. You're not allowed to do that. They will not allow that. But in some other parts of Nigeria, they might do that because they're a little bit more, we'll say, traveled. They're more well-traveled. But in my part, they will not show that. You have to see that underground. Like one of the comment was made, that you do that underground. We know these things happen. We understand it, but it is not allowed to be mainstream. So when I saw that bus pass by, and I know it's because they don't understand the ramification or the weightiness of what that meant, because they thought when they see the pop music that it's normal. I think that's what the way they like to live their life. They're happy, they're enjoying themselves, not knowing that, no, for us, it's an insult. Let's not use those words or put it on our buses to say that's our company's name. So really, it's truly becoming a problem. When I went, I was like, wow, this is interesting. This is not what we're used to. But I'm grateful, though, in that we don't have it on mainstream media back home, where you can watch them showing casually girls doing things that are inappropriate or too overly sexualized. That is not acceptable. Up till today, that is not something you can see if you go back home and watch TV. Not acceptable. So I'm grateful that we still have that.
I wish we had that here. Dr. Alicia, so I'm going to make sure I set myself up for this question right. So it says, are there cultural stigmas within the Black community that might make it acceptable for what we're seeing and hearing? Because a lot of times when we're watching content or we're listening to songs or music, RJ, I am going to get to your question. I just want to ask Alicia this question. I'm going to come to your question right next. We're watching, we're listening, we're hearing, And then when we have a conversation like this, sometimes you hear somebody say, let people do what they want to do. The younger generation used to do it. The N word is R word. It's okay if I want to call somebody B. Are those cultural stigmas in our community that make those things okay? Like, why do we do that? Why do we say it's okay? It's not a big deal. If that's what they want to do, that's the younger generation. We listen to Luke. Like, why do we do that? Or what is that?
Okay, yeah. Let me put a pin in that question real quick, because that video with Future, I mean, he felt really guilty. I want to comment on that because he really felt guilty, and I wonder what he's doing about it. Like, when you realize and you look back at your behavior and you see how someone lost their life because of how powerful you are in influencing other people, what is Future doing right now to change that? Like, that's my question. That's my challenge to all of us. Like, we are powerful people and we have an impact on the people around us. And in a lot of ways, in a macro level, these artists have a huge influence on the public. So now that you know this, now that Future know this and other artists know this, like, what are they doing? Like, I challenge all of us, including these artists, to really think about what to do with that guilt, because feeling guilty is appropriate. That makes sense. But to get over feeling guilty is to right the wrong. So my question is, what are you going to do about that? So I love that clip right there, because he was really, you could see the guilt in his face. Also, Athena, I agree with you. Yeah, these songs are so catchy. The music and the beats and all of that, it's like you can really get down. Like, there's a lot of artistry that comes into hip hop music. It's creative. It's something you have never heard before. But if you stop and listen to the lyrics that's behind the really great beats and the musical part of it, you start realizing, oh my goodness, how could you not be affected by these lyrics? And when you stop and think about it, then you can have a nice conversation about how it has an effect on you, which really leads into Dr. Lene, your question is that and also the question from RJ. I see his question in there. Like, with my children, I'm realistic. I understand that I cannot cut them off from society, right? I can put limits on what the type of information they consume, but I am realistic in knowing that I can't stop them from listening to it. So if I see my children, any one of my children, listening to lyrics that is incongruent with our values, I have a conversation with them about it. I say, what do you think about what that person just said? And I'll stop. It's a teachable moment for me and for them to be able to say, okay, what do you think about that? Like, tell me what you think. And if parents have that conversation with our children, that's how you fight it, because it's not going to have an impact on your subconscious mind if you are consciously, on a conscious level, thinking about your thinking, thinking about what's coming into you. And if you have a conversation with teenagers and all consumers of this music, they will tell you, they will say, I think that's really terrible. Good grief, I can't believe this person treats themselves that way. If anything, as parents, raising the question, this video that we're doing right here on YouTube, it's just raising awareness of these concepts. Have a conversation with other people. What do you think about this? Is this who and what we are? Have you noticed that our images are controlled and very derogatory? What do you think about the misogynistic perspective in the lyrics of music? All rap music, I have yet to see a lot of it that's promoted in media. The lyrics of those music, it's hatred toward women. I mean, it really is. And internalized misogyny is what we see. A lot of rap artists, female rap artists, just have this sort of hatred that you are just this one note. And having these types of conversations is how we combat all of this cultural stigma that you're talking about.
Great. Thank you so much. RJ, so RJ's question was, my question is, do you think younger folks in my generation should be encouraged to listen to music that my parents were raised on? Absolutely. Yes. I think that there is something in passing down music from generation to generation. One, you don't lose, right? If I talk to somebody right now and be like, who is Luther Vandross? They won't know. Like y'all don't know who Luther Vandross is. Y'all know who the five, like, have you watched the Five Heartbeats? Like what do you understand about music? The other thing is they're listening to this music today, and they don't even know that they're remakes. Like they're what do they call it? What is it called when they samples? They're samples. Yes, they're sampling old music. So this song that you're grooving to, that you think is the stuff, that's from like 10, 15, 20 years ago. So to have a good understanding of music, but also old music is old music. You can learn something. You're going to hear something different. You're going to feel something. So yes, I do think that. And then the other question from Danette: how do we fight against negative rap music as a community without being accused of practicing censorship or stifling an artist's creativity or messing with someone's money? Athena, how would you like to answer that question?
How do we fight against negative rap music as a community without being practiced or messing with someone's money? Listen, money is going to go where it finds value and where money is a reflection of people and their values. So we can't control messing with somebody's money. What we can control is, as a people, what we decide to do. There are artists, R&B artists, rap artists, hip hop artists that push a positive message, that have positivity, that does not get as much shine. I know when I was attending ABC, D1 was an artist that was there and that is doing a lot of positive things. Rhapsody is another artist that is doing a lot. So it really is a reflection of us as a people. And that's why I said we have to take accountability for what we indulge in and promote when. So if we were to say as a group, you know what? We are only going to support artists that have positive messages and images. We are only going to support artists that reflect certain music, and we're going to put our streaming time and our dollars behind that. Guess what these record companies would do? They would switch it up real quick. They would switch it up so fast. You'd be like, how did they even do that? Right? Now, every once in a while, artists will break through on creativity. So I'm even thinking of an artist like Missy Elliott. Such a huge Missy fan. I'm going to see her on tour next month, by the way. So I'm really excited about that. Busta Rhymes, okay? And not to say that they didn't have content that was salacious, because Get Your Freak On is definitely salacious. 1 Minute Man is definitely salacious, but it was not on the level of the, intense, graphic, sexual nature that we have now. What I do miss about hip hop is more so when what things were implied or innuendo. So even if you liked a song, unless you were of that age or you knew what that was, it kind of went over your head. Like some of the songs I listened to from back in the day. So like I was listening to Mariah Carey's Honey. If you listen to the lyrics, I'm like, oh my God, this song is totally about X, Y, and Z. But I didn't know because I was a child, but maybe it was good that it was innuendo. So the adults knew what it was, but the kids didn't. So I think we need to merge back to that. And I think we need to put our focus and attention on artists that we support as a community. But like I said, this issue is a community issue, and we have a hard time galvanizing behind anything. So until we galvanize in that way, we'll continue to be oppressed.
I like that. Aisha, what music are you listening to today? What kind of music do you listen to?
I listen to spiritual music.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What kind of music? Do you have children?
Yes, I do.
What kind of music do your children listen to? Do you let them listen to hip hop? Do they listen to hip hop?
No, I don't let them listen to hip hop music. My son does listen to rap. He likes Kendrick Lamar and some of the artists in that genre. So but I talked to him about it. We talk about it. I said, so what kind of lyrics are you listening to? What are the words? And sometimes he will laugh about it and tell me, yeah, this is, but I say, well, I hope that you understand that music does affect you. So be careful what you listen to. But I'm like Dr. Alicia. I know that they will be exposed at school. I am very realistic about it. It's just to have that conversation consistently about that. But in my house, I listen to Christian music, and everything, and they didn't make fun of me. Oh Jesus, because they make fun of me all the time, but that's okay. But they understand that that's important to me, that I value what I listen to, and they pick it up. They listen as they listen at home. They're hearing that the word of God is important, and as you're listening, because I say we are in this world, but not of this world. As you listen to this, it's going to happen, but know also who you are and what you're about, so that way you have that balance, so you're not off. But for me personally, I listen to really spiritual music. That's what I love. I used to love country music and the old hip hop, Luther Vandross and all those people, Michael Jackson. But now that I'm older, it's just Christian music that I listen to, and allow them to listen to their music. My daughter, on the other hand, doesn't listen to any music. She's 12 years old. She doesn't have no iPhone, none of that. She doesn't listen to any music. She just does her little young girl stuff, and that's it. She doesn't know any of these artists. She doesn't know any of them, because we just don't listen to those artists here. So that's I think I'm listening to right now.
It's almost, and we're almost in a place where you can't listen to music, but we know you're not going to listen to music. We know you're going to listen to music. We know you're going to go out and enjoy yourself. We know there's going to be a variety of different musics. And we know that as parents, we have some level of control over the music that they listen to for a small period of time, because they will eventually not be under our rules, not be under our house, and they will listen to the music. They will see the videos. They will see the BBLs. They will hear about the drugs. They will see it. It will be pushed down their throat. It's inevitable, right? Dr. Alicia, what would you say to do, or what advice would you give to someone, whether they're a young person or an adult, who does not want the trauma of the music, of the visuals, of the words, of the negativity, of the misogyny? How do we operate and live and function in a world where it's just around us everywhere we go?
Yeah, I'm not certain about the trauma of listening to that music, but I do think that I think energy goes where your attention is. And I think that you just get in tune with who and what you are. You didn't ask me what kind of music I like. I enjoy like medicine. I listen to a lot of medicine music because I like to spend times with Native and Indigenous populations, because I think they got it right. And I incorporate that into my life. Like, everything around me has a symbolic meaning of something that I want to cultivate in myself and bring out into the open. I mean, I do believe that all of us are gods. We're all gods. We all create. All of us, especially women, are the wonderful creators. And we can plant the seed on how we we can plant the seeds in our life today about how we want our world to be. And you have to make an agreement, with yourself. So you make an agreement that, you're going to surround yourself with things and ideas that reflects who and what you are. And, I think that we have to keep those things in mind, because it works. It can't not work, because we know it works. If it didn't work, there wouldn't be so much attention placed on controlling the minds of Black people. You don't have to really care. Who cares about what we do, as long as they control these images about how we are seen? These images are seen. We got to keep in mind, this is an election year too. How many hip hop artists do you think they're going to lean on to come out and tell us who to vote for and who not to vote for? I mean, we know that it's powerful, and the music is powerful. I mean, think about like Bob Marley. Remember when Bob Marley got all into political things? I mean, he was dangerous because he had the eyes of the masses and the ears of the masses, and he used his platform to talk about social issues. I mean, there's such beauty and such comfort in music. I mean, even in the civil rights era, music was so important in captivating and catching the feelings of what everybody was going through. So it is extremely powerful. And we have to understand how powerful that is, and just use your brain. I mean, have some critical thinking skills. I mean, we have in this video laid out the formula. We have laid out the theories. So now you can listen to this and go on without your life and see how the data fits what we've talked about today, how these images are the controlling images of Black men and Black women. I mean, the stereotypes of Black men is also portrayed in this. And I don't know what that feels like for men. We don't have any men here, but maybe they could, weigh in on this. How does it feel for them to be able to see themselves this way? I know how it feels to see my husband and my son portrayed in this way that has nothing to do with who and what they really are. So, I mean, I don't even know if that answers your question, but that's kind of what I had on my heart to talk about, about how we can take control. I mean, the thing is that so many of us I get it. I totally get it. We got to get up. We got to go to work every day. We got life things, adulting things happening in our life. How much time do we have to stop and to think and to reflect? Not very much. And maybe that's the rat race of it all. Like, we're trying to put food on the table and we're living, all of us are living our lives and have issues that we have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. We don't have time to sit and protest, what's going on with us. But, I think we owe it to ourselves to give ourselves self-care and to really stop and think at some point to focus on what we want in our lives. And it's right there in our grasp. We can do and become anything that we want to do and become. So,
all right. So I'm going to go back to this comment from Sela Saint, and it says, you can't call yourself. Actually, I'm going to read a couple of them. Let's be clear. Hip hop is a whole counterculture. Rap is the derivative commercialized musical genre people are complaining about. But the distinction between hip hop music and rap needs to be made.
So true.
You can't call yourself fly and demonize hip hop as a whole at the same time. It's very hypocritical when the word fly came from hip hop culture. So let me just address that.
Right.
First of all, nothing is ever demonized. We're not demonizing hip hop culture, the hip hop culture or rap. We're saying be accountable, be responsible for what you're saying and what you're doing as an industry, because it matters, right? It counts. If you're talking about Molly Percocets and you're making it a glamorized thing and you're then turning around and feeding that to the Black community, that's not what hip hop means. That's not what it started as. That's what hip hop started as and what it meant when it started before it became commercialized has changed. And what it has turned into is not acceptable. So it's not demonizing, it's holding accountable, which for some reason Black people have a hard time doing. When something is wrong, we need to say that this is wrong. We need to say, treat us better. We need to say, make better music for our children, or we need to take our dollars and go spend money somewhere else. So demonizing, holding somebody accountable is not demonizing. It's saying, I see you, respect us, respect the culture, respect Black people. Okay, so just wanted to be clear on that. We have 2 minutes, so we're going to make this really, really quick. We're going to go around the room very quickly, tell people where they can find you, how they can support you, and then we're going to go ahead and get out of here. We'll start with you, Aisha.
Thank you, Dr. Lene. You can reach me at aisha@rverzi.com. That's my name, Aisha @Verzi.com. Or I'm also on IG at Aisha Verzi, one word, GFI, which is Global Financial Impact. That's my where you can reach me. Thank you.
Awesome. What about you, Dr. Alicia?
Oh, okay. I'm unmuted. Okay. Hey, everybody. My name is Dr. Alicia. If you're ready to take control of your life, you can reach out to me, make some changes in your life. You can contact me at coachingwithdralicia.com. I work with couples. I also work with individuals and families. You can fill out my intake and I will reach out to you. If you want to follow me on social media, the best platform is Instagram at Coaching with Dr. Alicia.
Great job. And last but not least, Miss Athena Gardner.
Hi, everyone. It was so lovely to contribute to this discussion today about hip hop. My name is Athena Gardner. I'm a CPA and women's wealth coach. I help women level up financially. If you're a woman and you're interested in doing that, you can find me at wewealthwomen.com, on all social media at wewealthwomen, And listen to me on the We Wealth Women podcast on Apple, Spotify, and iHeart.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today. I am Dr. Lene Javette. I am a monetization strategist as well as a business coach. I help Black service-based entrepreneurs who package and sell their expertise to brand their brilliance and triple their revenue. This is Fly Nubian Money. I'm going to say it again, Fly Nubian Money. And you can catch us at flynubianmoney.com if you are interested in getting some free financial resources, courses, or other things that are over there. If you want to be notified when we are online live every Monday through Friday at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern, you can text the word Queens, Queens, to 87948, and you will be notified when we are live. You can also go to Spotify and search for Fly Nubian Money if you would like to listen to us on the go. Today has been a great day. We always appreciate you guys for tuning in, giving us your feedback. And you know what? Today I'm going to give a special shout out to our producers that do the stuff on the back end, that bring up the slides and make sure that your questions come up on the screen. So we want to give a shout out to our actual production team as well. But again, thank you so much for tuning in on today. We will see you guys tomorrow. Remember to stay blessed, be Black, and be one. We'll see you later. Bye-bye. Erica Badu said it best. She says, I'm an artist and I'm sensitive about my shit. And that's the truth, right? I think any artist, I'm an entrepreneur, and I can say the same thing. Whenever you are sharing your world or your art with somebody, it can be sensitive, right? You also talked about early music. I'm going to reset. I'm in a hot second, but you also talked about early music, and it was very different. It was very positive. It was uplifting. Danette Mitchell says, when I was growing up, we had ratchet music. However, in the Black community, we kept it underground and elevated positive music. This is when we owned our own radio stations and music stores. I can remember listening to a Tupac who's going to give you a little bit of ratchet, but give you something to think about. Where Mama or Brenda Had a Baby, KRS-One. So you have a nice mix. Today's music, it's all pop that P, look at my P, suck this, bitch that. Like, there's no love music, there's no community. Like I think it affects our relationships. I think it affects how men and women relate to each other, talk to each other. I think it affects our relationships, our ability to communicate, our ability to love. Music is so powerful and influential, much like this conversation that we're having today about hip hop's damaging influence on Black women, right here on Fly Nubian Money, which we do every Monday through Friday at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern. You can catch us here. And you can also get notified when we're live if you text the word Queens, Queens, to 87948. Again, that's 87948. You can also catch us on Spotify by searching Fly Nubian Money to take us on the go with you. Aisha, I want to come back and talk to you. Given your Nigerian background, can you share some cultural differences between the music scenes in Nigeria and the United States, particularly regarding what's allowed to be discussed on the airwaves and how it influences societal values? That was a mouthful. You might be a mute.
Sorry about that. That's such a great question. And just listening to Dr. Alicia talking about the mental, how it affects us mentally. And what you also just said, Dr. Lene, about, the way it affects you and how it makes you feel. It's amazing to me that today as well, hip hop has now crossed over where it's now also affecting the culture back home where I'm from. I just recently had a visit back home, and I came back when I was there visiting, and some young people were talking, and I couldn't believe what came out of their mouth. And I know it's because of the hip hop culture and what they were listening to. They were literally referring to the African Americans with the N-word casually. I stopped them. I said, do you understand that this is unacceptable? But because of what the pop culture says, so they thought it was normal to speak like that. I was mortified, and I had to correct them that please do not speak like this. It is unacceptable. again, because the music business doesn't care. They now are spreading all over the world, especially now in Africa, where our music for us was for praise and gratitude and celebration. Now it's becoming abusive. It's becoming abusive because you're watching as they're selling these products to them and they're listening, is now becoming what now they think it's okay. So when I went and I was visiting and I heard that, I literally stopped them and corrected. I said, no, we're not going to do that here. This is not what we're about, because you think it's funny or you think that is what you watch, and as you're watching these videos, it is not who we are. So ladies, it is crossing over. And unfortunately, it's about money. At the end of the day, it's not about caring about who we are, that we are fearfully and wonderfully made by God and to be respected and loved and cherished. No, they just want to make money. They don't care who is damaged as this is happening. And but for me, I make sure that even when I go back and I tell my brothers back home and my nephews and nieces that they're not allowed to watch videos like that, because this is not who we are. This is not how we were raised. This is not what our parents taught us. And that we have to stay true to who we are and not listen to those music, because we know it's not edifying. It doesn't add no value to your life. It only denigrates you. And now here you are calling your brothers and sisters that are from America the N-word and thinking it's normal. So it saddened me that that was happening, but that is what's happening today. Again, we have to like you said, that we should make sure that it comes from us, Athena, that we should be the one making that move. We should be the one making that difference in our own homes and making sure that we talk to our children and tell them that no, this is not part of our culture. This is something else. Somebody else is selling this to us and we're buying it. And we were not going to buy it here. I'm hoping that that is what we can do, as brothers and sisters in this space, that will make sure that we tell our children that no, this is not our culture. This is not how we're supposed to talk to each other or refer to each other, especially our women. An African woman, oh my goodness, she gave birth to the world. I said, you know how powerful you are. You gave birth to the world. And now they're denigrating you with music by your own people, by your own boys and your own men, and think it's okay. It is not okay. It is not okay, because then you're allowing other people to look at you that way.
And what a lot of times what the youth, and we can say people, but mostly youth, don't realize is the verbiage, the language, the lifestyle, the drugs, the oversexualization. A lot of this stuff, the people who are rapping about it, they don't even do that. Some of these people come from 2-parent homes, good homes. They were like the life that they're rapping about, the image that they're portraying, they don't actually do in their real life. We're going to go to this video from Future talking about lean and the fact that he actually doesn't even use it. So let's cue that video.
Future regrets his influence on Juice WRLD, and the reason why will truly shock you. One of the first things that Juice WRLD told Future when they met up to make their 2018 record World on was that Future had influenced him to try lean. Juice WRLD told Vulture.com, "That's the first thing I told him." He was just like, wow. He kind of apologized. Future later reacted to this situation in an interview with Rolling Stone magazine, saying, quote, "When he told me that, I was like, oh what have I done? It really bothered me. It bothered me a lot. More than I thought it would bother me when he told me that. How many other 6th graders did I influence to drink lean? This really messed me up for a minute. It's all I could think about. Like, damn, what have I done? What have I done to other people?" Regardless of his habits, Juice WRLD was one of the best to ever do it. It will be remembered as such.
And so more accountability is definitely needed. More truth is definitely needed. More authenticity is definitely needed. I saw over in the chat, some people were talking about, what about the parents? Why are parents letting them listen to this music? Listen, I'm only gonna speak for myself. I was young once. My mom didn't know what I was listening to. You, as a parent, you can make sure that you listen to all the appropriate things in the car. You can put on, what do they call it? Explicit types of blocks on your child's phones. You can take the TVs out your house. They still got to go to school and their friends is listening to it. They still got to ride the bus and their friends is listening to it. They still see YouTube. Like, it's everywhere. Athena, how has music influenced you growing up? So I think I remember you saying you're 33, so you come from a different era of music than I do. So let's do that. Tell me what you're listening to right now, and then tell me how music has influenced you.
Well, I have a very eclectic musical taste. I am from the Caribbean, so obviously reggae and dancehall is a very big influence from there. I also listen to classical music. I listen to hip hop. I listen to pop. I listen to ratchet music. I'm going to sit here and be honest on the panel. I do like some of the artists that we have in question. I do listen to Cardi B. I do listen to Megan Thee Stallion. But I think the difference for me, though, is it's just entertainment for me. And because I'm not living in that lifestyle or culture, I'm not as, I guess, accessible to.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to Fly Nubian Money. We're here to help you master your mindset and maximize money. I'm your host for today. I'm Jade. Hey, y'all. Hey. Today, we're discussing the trend of celebrities, including Black women, of course, turning to platforms like OnlyFans due to financial pressure and societal expectations, right? I don't know if there's an expectation where a lot of women in Hollywood in particular feel that they have to show their body or go onto these sorts of platforms in order to generate income. But we're going to have that conversation. And specifically, we're talking about the decision of Camille Winbush. I know folks, as y'all are coming in, may remember Camille Winbush. She was a cute little girl on the Bernie Mac show, and I used to really love that show. And she joined OnlyFans. She made that decision to join OnlyFans, and it has sparked a lot of discussion on social media about the choices celebrities make to ensure their financial stability sometimes. And so we know that Hollywood is known for its instability and fluctuating nature and all of these things creating financial anxiety for many people. So we're going to have this conversation today with our queens, Miss Athena Gardner. She's a CPA and women's wealth coach. Hey, girl. Hey.
Hey.
Hey. We also have Miss Tiara Williams. She's an actress, singer, and producer. Call her Miss Black Hollywood. How are you doing, ma'am?
I'm well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. That red is just giving so much life to this panel. So yeah, we're having this conversation today, and you're tuned into Fly Nubian Money. We're here on weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern time. So be sure to text the word Queens to the number 87948. That's 87948. That way you will be notified when we do go live, when we have special offers and things like that. So ladies, let's just kick off this conversation. Camille Winbush, beautiful Black sister. She's young. We saw her grow up literally in Hollywood. And she did an interview recently, and she talked about she made the decision to go to OnlyFans because she wasn't getting calls. She wasn't making a lot of money in Hollywood anymore. And we're going to take a listen to the video shortly. But I want to just sort of have a general opening question, a discussion about your thoughts on the influence of platforms like OnlyFans. Let's start with you, Athena.
Well, OnlyFans was originally created as almost like a Patreon. So when other creators could just come on, monetize their gifts and talents. Now, especially during the pandemic, OnlyFans took off because the sex industry kind of made headways with OnlyFans. So now people automatically assume if you're on OnlyFans that it's some kind of sexy, racy, nudity related thing, when really it's just for everyone. It's just that industry has really made a mark there. My opinion on OnlyFans is this. I personally would not be on there. But for some women or men to make a way in this economy, I understand life choices may cause you to go down that path. And also I want to also shout out to the other creators who are on there who are doing wholesome things, like having cooking channels or spiritual channels or whatever they're doing. So in this scenario with Camille Wimbush, I want to talk about that in detail further. But I think initially when I saw the headlines, I was like, oh, girl. But after listening more to what she had to say and researching what she actually said, I'm fine with her being on there.
Thank you so much. So yeah, Tiara, I wanted to get your thoughts on OnlyFans. What do you think the impact is, the influence of these sorts of platforms that are highly sexualized? What do you think the impact is on like popular culture and the Black community in particular?
Well, that's a loaded question. You know, I didn't hear about OnlyFans. I knew nothing about OnlyFans until I heard Beyonce mention it in a song, right? Like she said something like, in demon time, I might start an OnlyFans. And I remember I was like, oh, well, what's that? Because it became so popular, people flooded to it. And I don't know if it was just because Beyonce said it, but I do remember that big how I found out about the platform. I've only associated that with sex workers. So, you know, somebody asked me not too long ago if I would ever have an OnlyFans. Probably not. And I would just say, just because what it kind of has come to represent, it wouldn't be a good look for me. You know, having a teenage daughter, I would never want her, even if it was for, I could host acting classes on there and I still wouldn't do it because what it has come to be associated with. You know, somebody's like, oh, your mom was on OnlyFans? You know, immediately somebody's gonna think, you know, I'm tooting and booting, and I don't want that. That's not what I'm looking for. So, you know, like Athena said, I think, you know, you got to do what you got to do, but I don't know if you got to do that. Like, just, you know, me working in Hollywood and me understanding the lay of the land. I've been here for almost 20 years of my life, and I've worked in this industry consistently, and I've never had to do anything provocative or sell my soul. I'm not saying that there wasn't opportunities to do so, but you know, you just be like, okay, I can't do this. You just gotta be. Well, we'll get to that, but for the most part, I just think that OnlyFans is not the only option.
Thank you so much for that insight, and especially for as coming from someone who's lived in Hollywood and worked in Hollywood, you know, for 20 years. I'm sure there's a lot of temptation and things out there and offers. If you're just tuning in, we are having this conversation. The Bernie Mac show star Camille Wimbush went viral over the last few days with an interview that she did, and she was talking about her decision to go onto OnlyFans, and it sparked a lot of controversy. We're going to go to that video and take a look at it. In the meantime, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. We're here at Fly Nubian Queen TV's YouTube channel, weekdays live at 1 p.m. Eastern Time.
Oh, those Bernie Mac checks must have dried up, or like from a job 20 years ago when I was a 12-year-old. Yeah. Like, duh.
Because we think the residuals are still coming through, though.
I mean, they do, but
it's not.
I wasn't. Listen, if I was on Friends making $1 million an episode, yes, those residual checks would still be very nice. But as time goes on, they get smaller and smaller every year. You're not making the same amount that you were when the show was current per episode.
Right.
So, as someone who was just a kid, don't get me wrong, still making good money, but 20 years later, those checks are not sustainable for a living. With the industry being as fickle as it is, you can't count on any job to last or even to book a job. So, over the years, I have done regular 9-to-5s.
Oh, wow.
I owned an ice cream shop for 3 years when I was a teenager.
Wow.
And I funded that with my own money. I taught gymnastics to kids where I was making like $11, $12 an hour. So I've done that.
Wow.
But if I can find a way to make enough to buy a home from the comfort and safety of my own living room, why wouldn't I do that?
Shout out to her. Shout out to everyone in the chat who's just joined us. We just heard directly from Miss Camille Wimbush, and she was talking about her decision to join OnlyFans. As you all are coming into the chat, make sure you just let us know what city and state you're coming from. Okay, now, Athena. Watching that video again just made me really, really sad because my mentor, one of my mentors, Dr. Boyce Watkins, started the Black Business School, and he teaches us, and I know you're a financial wellness, women's wellness coach, Athena, teaches us the importance of investing and creating Black millionaires of tomorrow, teaching our children how to save, how to invest, and to start businesses to secure their future. She admitted that she was making good money when the Bernie Mac show was on when she was 12 years old. That was a long time ago. So I can only imagine if a quarter of that money was invested 20 years ago so that she could have, I don't know, tripled it or made it, grow tenfold. What the impact of her life would be now. Like, she wouldn't be forced to go on to OnlyFans and stuff. So I wanted to get your take on this from a financial and generational wealth perspective. When I just listened to her speak, it made me sad in particular because I was wondering if she had anyone around her that would really help her grow her money and coach her financially. What are your thoughts, Athena?
Well, my thoughts are this, and it's important that all of us have financial literacy. And even the other day, I was seeing how Yo Gotti didn't know he had to pay property taxes on his home, right? So celebrities are not immune to understanding finance and money. And also, I think it's important to point out that Camille was a childhood star, meaning that her parents were responsible and were probably fiduciaries of her money or what she was making at the time. So oftentimes, especially when we come into the limelight, your family history and what you were taught is what you do. Now, I commend her for actually taking some of that money and starting her own businesses. She said she funded an ice cream shop with her own money. She said she tried to teach gymnastics. Sometimes it takes a lot. There's a lot that comes with business acumen and actually making a successful business that create cash flow. I know Dr. Boyce teaches that a lot on the Black Business School. I know I teach that for women on my platform as well. So even though you may have the money, trying to take the money and turn it into something else is a whole separate skill. So she may have had issues with that. And a lot of us have issues with that. What I will say is this: you are correct, Jade, in that if she probably would have even taken a quarter of that money, put it even in an index fund, and just let it sit and do what it was supposed to do, she probably could have been earning residuals. But according to what I've read online about her situation, if she has made $1 million off of OnlyFans, or she's making $50,000 a month off of OnlyFans, even then it might not have returned as much as she's making right now. So the OnlyFans thing is it's so enticing because of the earning potential that I can see how it can seduce someone into taking that option.
Thank you for that analysis, Athena. Tierra, for me, this raises a larger question, and I would love for you to speak to this as a parent and as someone who's in the industry in Hollywood. This raises a lot of questions for me and anxiety as an educator about the adultification of children in Hollywood. Was she put in a position to be an adult, and was she expected to know how to do these things and to take on that role as a provider for her family? I wanted to get your perspective on that angle of this conversation.
I'm not sure if she had to, if she had to provide for her family. But I know, just as having a daughter who is also in the industry, my daughter is 13 years old, and she's worked on shows like Abbott Elementary and just all of these different things. And I know that her dad had to take and invested a very, it's an effort to, take them to auditions, take her to auditions, take her and coach her. And, we're doing that together. But it's a process. And so if he's taking her to set and staying on set with her for 8 to 12 hours, that doesn't allow him to work, right? So if he's working as her manager, it kind of puts him in a situation where he has to take a piece of that to just a piece of it to pay for whatever, so I think families like that find themselves having to, as much energy that they're investing into their children, they kind of have to. It's a family business. The kid is a family business. Now, my daughter is not 100% working as an actress, right? So we're not forcing her to be a child star. We don't. That's not, because a lot of that is them losing a lot of their days. I remember she booked a show, and for the whole summer she worked on this show, and she was just like, I want to go outside. Kids there all day, they ran around, they had fun, but there was a part of her like, I just want to enjoy the summer. I was like, yeah, she should be able to enjoy the summer. I understand that she has checks coming in. So when she was done with that, we nested that. There was a time when my daughter had like $15,000 in her account, and we just nested it, and we started a savings for her, and we got her a vending machine, and just little things that we've started to do for her, but not taking any of her money, right? Like, not us taking money, but sometimes using that to reinvest into acting classes and stuff like that. So I'm not sure. So that's my perspective on that. When it comes to Camille, I'm not sure what their family dynamic was, but I know that, having even watched parents, I met Marseille and her mother Carol in IKEA once, like years ago. And often my daughter has glasses kind of like Marseille, and they kind of look alike. They get that all the time. Like, people will bring her in because people say, oh, she kind of looks like Marseille. And so after that, I was able to kind of like not befriend them. They're not my friends, but like, I see them on Facebook, and I'm watching how they've made that into a family business. Her mother is with her 24/7. They are flying from here to there, to fittings, to this, to that, to that, and they started a production company. So like, Marseille is working, but like, you really see a lot of her mother's life being poured into, and I'm sure that was the plan, right, when they moved from Texas. But a lot of her life is poured into Marseille's life, so they have to benefit, they have to make money, from being their manager. So those are my initial thoughts. It's a lot of work. I mean, when I watch them, it's just like, wow, I'm tired and I'm just watching.
Yeah, I can only imagine
Yeah.
what that's like for children to be childhood stars and actors and actresses, and to have that level of responsibility, and also to be able to make that amount of money.
Yeah.
So what I thought about was definitely the adultification piece. We want to protect our children, even when they are in entertainment, to make sure that they are not growing up or taking on too much responsibility than they should as young people, as children. So that was something that struck me. And definitely, Athena, the financial literacy piece, the investing piece, the piece where we say, hey, let's get my child all of the available resources possible so that they can invest their money, have more than one business, and be set up for the future. So in watching that clip, I felt so many things. I was thinking about those larger issues more than her decision to go on OnlyFans and model or not. Now, I am not on OnlyFans. I've never seen an OnlyFans, just so y'all know. So I don't need people in the chat. Just in case anybody wanted to try it today to ask, if I was on OnlyFans. I don't have one. However, if that's what people choose to do, that's what they do. I know that there are so many other options out there for our people, for Black women, Black girls in particular. We don't have to resort to that. So I would love for us to continue on this conversation, speaking to larger issues about pay disparities in Hollywood in particular. So we know that, yeah, Blac Chyna has reportedly made nearly $250,000 on OnlyFans, but there are other people that have made how much?
$250 million, almost nearly a quarter
$250 million. Yes,
billion with a B.
With a B.
With a B.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the M. There's a B. $250 million.
Wow. Okay. Okay, so that
Mhm.
should be $360
Oh,
billion
over.
on
No, no,
OnlyFans.
no, no, no. She's a $250 million.
Oh,
So she's
$250,000,000.
right
Okay, I was
over
like,
it.
wait,
It's right.
a quarter trillion? Okay, got you. So
No,
yeah, but still,
that's right.
like, that's a lot of money.
That's a lot of
And Black
money.
China is now acting. I know she's doing some things. I think I've seen her in a show on BET Plus that my mom watched. You know, my mom watches all of those shows. But so many other actresses have sounded the alarm about pay disparities in the entertainment industry. Tierra, we've heard from Monique. We've heard from Taraji P. Henson. Taraji was very, very vulnerable and very, very
Mhm.
authentic about her experience. And she got ran down essentially. People were literally like trying to drag her, Athena, on social media for saying, like, hey, there are pay disparities within Hollywood for Black actors and Black actresses. I have been snubbed.
Yeah.
And I know that Gabrielle Union, we have a clip we can show of Gabrielle Union talking about the financial anxiety she feels even when she does well. She'll do a film that does well, but then the waiting period, not knowing if she's going to be booked again, like that's a thing, Tierra. So can you
It's
tell
a
us a little bit more
thing.
about that? And then Athena, I would love for you to weigh in after Tierra.
Yes. I wish I had the SAG-AFTRA a stat. I don't have it in front of me, and I'm sorry, but like I remember seeing that it was like um actors worked maybe like an average of like 3 jobs in a span of like 5 to 8 years or something like that, right? And that's just like, everybody is not in that top 1%, right? It's like that 1%, and then 99% of other people are just trying to figure out how to pay their bills. I know Billy Porter, a couple months after our strike last year, went into foreclosure on his home, and he was like, we're very much living, and I mean, he's on TV, he's on red carpets, he's all over the place. But I think he said something in his interview like, you know, if you don't have FU money, you're very much living from check to check. So like you're only 1 to 2 months away from financial ruin, and then in terms of like not knowing, you can have a show on television and running on television and not have no money, right? And like Camille was saying, her show probably still runs, but she doesn't get those residuals, don't look the same. And so I mean, I don't know where her residual checks, I don't know what her deal looks like, I have no idea. But it might be a little pocket change, it might pay the rent, maybe. I mean, it's inflation, it's all the things. So she might not be able to, but it's very hard to live in California. If you think about like, I mean, you can get a house for $1 million if you got $1 million laying around, and that's just like it's just a very expensive place on top of all of the other things that you have to worry about. And so, like I was saying, it's very fickle here. You can audition and hear no all day long, right? And when you do book, it might be a $10,000 check. It might be a $20,000 check. When I sold a screenplay, I got a huge check from Universal, and then I didn't work for 2 years after that. Like, so it was like me having to nest that and get really creative about. Thank God I have an acumen for business, because I understand that, and I learned this a long time ago, that you have to be really creative about it really can't be just one source of income and rely on just being an actor. Only 1% of Hollywood can do that. Otherwise, you got to have other hustles. Like she said, she had an ice cream parlor and a shop and all of these things. And that's kind of what you have to do here. Like there's people juggling all balls. And I'm gonna share a story, but it kind of gives you a perspective. When I first moved to LA, I got on a shuttle, and there was a guy, and I always think about this because I was like, I never want to be that. So I got on the shuttle. He was like, "What you do?" I said, "Oh, I'm an actress." He was like, "Oh, me too." Right as he's driving our bus, he pulls out this business card and hands it to me, and on there he's like posed like this, kind of like with his chest out. He kind of, what I'm saying, and it said actor, model, writer, producer, driver, like exotic dancer. I do kids' birthdays. Like it was just it was like 12 things. And I thought that was the funniest thing. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to keep this forever. But he was giving me the game when I first was like, there's a part of that is really real. There was like 10 hyphens on there. But that's a real thing here. And I didn't learn that. Thank God I didn't have to do all of the things. But I did come here as an actress and a singer. And I was gratefully on a show, and Blair Underwood was like, listen, you got to learn how to produce. You got to learn how to act. You got to learn how to do more than act. You got to learn how to produce and direct, and you know how to write. All right. I was like, okay. So I went and worked on, I worked as a producer, and then I got really hunkered down into directing and writing. It's a real thing, right? And so, you just kind of have to be fluid in the way that you earn money. And that was a really long-winded, but I just wanted to share that and give you a real thing, a real glimpse. Because you can go in and audition all day, but you might not book. You hear no so often here, and you know what I hear in Camille's voice is like frustration. Like, I've been you can't, you're going out, and even though I've been on television, people are saying no. People are saying no. There's not, Hollywood is structured differently. People are working a lot less. The business is still not the same since we were striking last year. It's not up. It's not up and running. AI is, people are not being paid well. It's all of the things, y'all. You have to, at this point, want to be an artist. You have to really want to work in Hollywood to work in Hollywood. You know what I mean? You have to really like go through a lot of things that kind of are soul crushing, if that makes sense. Like, you have to, I don't know, another occupation where you can pour 20 years of your life into something and still not make it.
Wow.
Does that make sense? So
yes.
Anyway, I could go on and on. So I'm gonna shut up.
No, that was very insightful. And if you all are just tuning in, we are talking about the actress Camille Winbush. She went viral this week for an interview she did talking about her decision to go onto OnlyFans. So this is the topic of conversation, and we're speaking largely about societal pressures for Black actors and actresses, but particular Black women actresses, and pay insecurity, financial anxiety, and societal expectations for women, especially to go onto platforms such as OnlyFans that, in my opinion, are very, very sexually exploitative. But hey, that's just my personal opinion. Anyway, Tiara, thank you for sharing your insight about Hollywood and the difficulties in Hollywood. Athena, my question is, I see actors and actresses on magazine covers, on interviews on television. They be on the red carpets in red bottoms. They're wearing Valentino. They're wearing all types of designers that I can't even pronounce. It still baffles me that, folks have these high quality lifestyles, and I'm thinking that they're living millionaire and billionaire lifestyles. Can you speak to the point that Tiara made about, like, you can be on television and have a show and still be broke or living month to month and check to check? But Athena, how is that possible when I'm seeing folks decked out and all of these designers living this like lavish lifestyle? Please help me understand.
Listen, it is very easy to do that. We live in a society where image is so important. So as long as you look the part, you can kind of project an image that may not be real. So you could look like you have on the Gucci designer and your fridge has no food. So similar to what Tiara was saying about Billy Porter, how he's on these carpets and in these designers and he had to floor clothes in his home. Financial realities are just that. 70% of us don't have $5,000 in our bank account. More than 50% of us are in debt. Okay, so there's a lot of only 6% of Black adults in the US make 100K or more. The stats paint a different picture. And that's why I love numbers so much, because numbers tell the truth. Numbers tell the truth of what is going on. As far as celebrities is concerned, right? A lot of what you're seeing also there is not real. They have teams curating looks for them. Their clothes are getting on loan by designers so they can take that image and promote that, the latest fashion, so they can get their cut from that. The jewelry is also on loan. So a lot of, it's a business. It's a business to curate an image so consumers like you and me buy into that and buy the product, right? La Roche, who is a wonderful style architect and stylist, was recently doing an interview around Zendaya, which he mentioned that he actually buys the clothes, and the interviewer was shocked because most people don't buy the clothes. They get the clothes on loan. So a lot of what you're seeing is not real. And also, to talk about the topic of actresses and celebrities, Taraji was saying that she couldn't even get transportation, or that she had to fight for transportation. She had to fight for certain things. Her trailer was not the best. And you would think, especially even at Taraji's level, that wouldn't even be a question. That wouldn't be a question. So I think in the year of 2024, where Cat Williams said everyone will be exposed, honey, the lid is coming off the pot. Okay, we're seeing behind the curtain, behind the veil. We're seeing everybody's skeletons all over. And I think this industry is showing us that entertainment is not what you think it is. How many rappers fall dead, have no life insurance policy, and all their little baby mama or whoever is left out to dry? You know, these are realities that we as an audience and Gen Pop need to look at and say, okay, how do we in our lives put ourselves in position so we do not fall into this trap? Because clearly the celebrities are now saying that we were paid puppets to entice you to consume and entice you to buy into these businesses.
Thank you for that point, Athena. So basically, they just rent the runway. Okay, got you. Okay, or they're like brand ambassadors to a degree. Tiara, did you want to, from your experience? Okay, you want to add anything? Okay, so also to your point, Athena, I saw, did y'all see Krishan Rock? I think I'm pronouncing her name properly. She went to her baby father's, I forget his name. Who's the baby father's name? What's his name?
Blueface.
Blueface
went to his hearing and got arrested.
Went to his hearing, got arrested because she had a warrant from another state or something like that. So now she's arrested. Her sister allegedly is on social media asking the public to raise funds for her to get an attorney. And it said that she doesn't have toothpaste. She's being horribly mistreated and she needs representation. That's not something that I would expect from a social media star, celebrity. I don't know if she's a rapper or a singer, but I know she's pretty popular. And you made a comment just now, Athena, that I wanted to circle back to. You said that, you know, a lot of guys in Hollywood are having children and leaving their baby mothers out to dry. So that came to mind when you said that. Also makes me very, very sad. If y'all are tuning in, we are having an intelligible conversation about OnlyFans. Shout out to some of y'all in the chat that might have some OnlyFans. I don't know if y'all be on there twerking or showing your feet or whatever, but hey, it happens. Shout out to everyone in the chat who also put their city and state in there. We see you. We appreciate y'all tuning in. This is Fly Nubian Money, where we have intelligible conversations about all things money. Make sure you visit our website, flynubianmoney.com, and come over to listen to these panels live right here, weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern Time at flynubianqueentv.com's YouTube channel. And also, yes, make sure you text the word Queens, Queens, to the number 87948. That's 87948 when we go live and we have spicy conversations such as this one about OnlyFans and stuff. So anywho, we're also talking about pay disparities within Hollywood, within the Black sector of Hollywood. We have a video that we're going to show and we're going to discuss. It's of Gabrielle Union talking about her financial anxiety as an accomplished Black actress in the industry. Take a listen.
And with a generation-defining hit under her belt, Gabrielle embarked on a career that would see her embracing a variety of roles and solidifying her place as the people's champ. She would also meet her future husband and fellow Renaissance human, Dwayne Wade, and begin crafting a personal brand. But the persistent racism and sexism in Hollywood would present ongoing challenges, even as her professional and personal lives continued to thrive.
I struggle with that still, just because I think I just have more responsibilities, for my money. So I get nervous, like, oh God, that movie didn't open, well, what does that mean? Am I gonna have enough to hold everybody up? And everyone's like, it's coming, like, calm down. And I'm trying to find peace in the journey, not using my anxiety and scarcity mindset to be my engine, which is hard. It's weird to say I'm head of household, because in this household, we split everything 50-50. But in the other households that each of us have to support, it puts there's always this like gorilla on your back that it is like, you better work, you better work. You gonna sleep in? Somebody might not eat. Come on, you gotta work. And it's hard. It's hard to let that go. So I'm working on that. Even now, from then to now, from late 95 to 2023, I've never been anybody's first choice. Not Black folks, not white folks. But by hook or by crook, I get a job, right? And then that movie does really well. And what they tell you is if you're a part of a movie and your character pops, then that leads to the next thing. But I really realized after Bad Boys 2 and Bring It On that how I am received by real life people is not reflected how I'm treated in Hollywood. They're completely different. But before social media, I had no way of really knowing that or quantifying that. So, because they tell you, if you succeed, then these are the roles that open up. So I'm succeeding and the door is bolted shut. And the people who are jumping the line seem to be folks that make white people in charge very comfortable. But what it did, like the social media era, me, Taraji, Nia, Sanaa, Tracy, it allowed our real world popularity to be quantified to where it was undeniable.
Okay. I heard what she said, Tiara, but it's, as someone who just watches entertainment, it's really difficult for me personally to connect to what she's saying, because my perception of Gabrielle Union is so different than her actual experience that she's articulating. Mm-hmm. And I understand, I respect her experience. I appreciate her sharing that. But when I'm seeing Gabrielle Union, like, oh my gosh, it's Gabrielle Union. She's all over the place. Like, what is she talking about? Can you give some insight or like maybe a bit more of an explanation from your experience in terms of the culture in Hollywood, in terms of what actors and actresses go through and how they're treated versus how they're perceived by people like me who are just clueless?
Yeah, I think, and I mean, you're not the only one. I think you can look at someone and just assume that because they have a name and a status, that they can walk through any door that they want to, that they can get into rooms. There's still rooms that Gabrielle wants to get into in terms of films she wants to audition for. There's still roles. Sometimes I hear people say, oh, Gabrielle does the same kind of movies, right? She's kind of like, but she is, I'm sure that in her fantasy, maybe there's things that she wants to do that allow her to stretch, that allow you to see her beyond Bring It On, and the beautiful lead actress that is in a romantic comedy. Maybe she wants to play a homeless crackhead. I don't know what the level of where she wanted to go or where she wants to go. But race plays a part. Her being a woman plays a part. Her being a Black woman plays a part. It just is. It's a tough business that has a lot of politics involved, and there's you know if I'm being honest, like, people that don't look like us run this industry. And so with that being said, there's, you have to kind of bow and fold and, move to that if you want to see those heights that you want to see. And sometimes you can move and like do all that and sell yourself, or you can mold yourself and still end up in the middle. We used to always say like, you date a man and you're like, oh, I'm gonna have a relationship with this director and he's gonna do things for my career. I definitely have heard that when I was like actively like pursuing my in my 20s. It was like that was the thing. Like, people used to be like, I mean, yeah, I cast you. I go in, I audition. I'm talking about work on all of the things, work on the script. You go in, you audition, and you kill it, right? And then maybe like 20, 30 minutes after you do all of that, the director calls you and says, now that we got that out the way, what's up? What's up? Like what's up? Oh, are you gonna send the screenplay? Like, is that what you're saying? Like, what's the what? Like, what do you? I already gave you what's up. So it's just like just having to deal with all of that, all of the things, all of the doors. And then there's also this thing where you go into a you Hollywood is the only other place that I know where you can be too young, you can be too old, you can, by 30 they're like, if you haven't made it, that means that you're never gonna make it. If you're too fat, you're too skinny, you're too dark, you're too light, you're not this, you're that, you're constantly being told what you are not. And so I think social media does add an interesting element where you're able to monetize. You're able to create your own brands and literally go directly to the people that consume you, the people that love you. You can find your tribe, you can find your fans, and really create products around that, and create things around that. And seeing that popularity can, now catapult you. But now she's like producing films, and she's, I think she's doing her thing. And I'm sure there's some things that she still wants to do, and hopefully she's able to do that, and that anxiety, it goes away. I don't know if it'll ever go away though, because of just the nature of this beast.
Yeah, thank you for that insight. That makes a lot of sense. That gives me a lot more clarity. Thank you. And you just described a really, really unstable environment in Hollywood, Tierra. So my question to you, Athena, is given the unstable nature of Hollywood, how can celebrities, in your opinion, diversify their income stream so they can reduce the financial anxiety and then also have options and not have to be on OnlyFans?
Well, Athena, not just celebrities. Let us all know, baby.
Yes.
Because there's another 99% of us that want to know.
Well, I think you touched on it earlier, Tierra, that, you realized that you had to add more hyphens. You had to add more skills. You had to add more income and revenue streams. So that is what I recommend that everyone, whether or not these celebrities do anything, everyone to do, to monetize your gifts, monetize your talents, and really to create stability in multiple forms. And that will also provide you more financial protection. In the stock market, they always say diversify your portfolio, diversify this. Diversity is going to be the key here, because even as times are changing, I do a lot with AI. AI is changing the game. So if you are relying on one source of income, especially as a single person, because that's a whole other thing. Like, I do a workshop that talks about women at different stages and the financial vulnerability single women face, because if they're out the game and they're sick, that's it. Like, there's no other income coming in. So diversify your income and support your wealth streams in that way. I would also say this. What made me cringe a little bit when I was watching Gabrielle Union was the fact that she does have a husband of high net worth that makes more money than her, that she doesn't feel comfortable in an arrangement for him to fully provide in that way. even if within their own household. So say even if she supports other family members with her own funds, but girl, to do 50-50 when you have a man that can pay that bill to calm down this financial stress that for these acting jobs, like I question why that isn't in her.
Let me just drink my cold coffee while you continue to extrapolate.
Yeah, because
as Tiara continues to make faces, just go ahead and continue.
Yes, because I know a lot of she went on the fire. A lot of people scrutinized because he had said a comment that, you know, this is my house, and she was like, you'll never be able to say that to me again. So that's why she split the 50-50. Listen, take the stress. If you want to have the ego boost to say it's his house, all right. As long as you still have your own money, you stashing away, that would be my advice on that.
I think
what this also highlights.
Okay. I have a question for you. After you finish, but go ahead.
Okay. What this also highlights to me, and I think we discussed this, I definitely discussed this, but I know Dr. Boyce and the Black Business School discussed this as well. Ownership is a conversation, like Rick Ross said. Ownership is really important. Why is it important in this situation? Like you said, Tiara, Hollywood is owned by people that do not look like us. Let's keep it 100%. Let's keep it a buck. Since we do not have our own platforms, our own avenues, we have to succumb to the judgments and prejudices of people who do not look like us, whether that's in Hollywood or whether that's just everybody on the corporate plantation, honey, right? Because what is the stat? Black women make on average 60 cents to a white man's dollar. So until we go through the journey of building and establish our own business and entrepreneurship, which is hard, by the way. This is a hard task to do, right? But unfortunately, since we don't have different infrastructure that we own in these different industries, we have to succumb to the pressures of those industries, okay? I think it was Viola Davis who said, they were calling her the Black Meryl Streep. And she said, how come I ain't making Meryl Streep money?
That's right.
Okay. But what Viola did, which is diversify her income stream, she's like, you know what? I'm going to do my own production company.
That's right.
With my husband. I'm gonna come up with the Woman King. And I'm going to shop it to Netflix and shop it to these other platforms and make my money that way.
That's right.
So I think that is super, super important that we all do. Because guess what? Just like Fat Joe said, yesterday's price is not today's price. Yesterday's money is not today's money. The inflation is inflationing. And I think the celebrities are also taking note of that, because Taraji came out with her own mental podcast and her own hair care line, product, skin line.
Yeah.
Tracy Ellis Ross came out with Pattern Beauty. Like, I think all these, Gabrielle Union does all these different deals. I know she was doing fitness and all this other stuff. I think, especially in Hollywood, but for all of us included, they know that they need to monopolize on that celebrity.
Yes.
And to come up with a product line in order to smooth out and decrease the financial stress that Gabrielle was discussing.
Yes. Can I also just add that I think there's this really weird thing with family and friends that look at someone. It's, if you see one of your family and friends and they work at, I don't know, they work a 9 to 5, you don't go to them and say, I need you to take care of me. But you see someone working on television, and because the checks are a little bigger and they don't understand that those checks are supposed to last you, right? And they're still expecting you to take care of them. And Gabrielle has, she has like and this is not a negative thing, but she has a masculine energy about her, that masculine energy where it's like, I'm an independent woman. I've had to take care of myself. This industry will bring that out of you, right? Where you're like, I got to figure it out. Like she said, I got to figure it out. I got to work. What, you going to sleep today? Like, I think we all wake up like that. Like, I could rest in, but I got to get it. I got to figure it out. So I just think it's unfair. And maybe you could speak to this, Athena. It's like why people feel like they should be able to just like live off someone else. Like, I see if she like bought her mama a house. Okay, cool. But like everybody else would have to, they'd have to figure it out. Because we all got to figure it out. Like, why do I have to take care of people outside of my home? I don't understand.
Listen, family members will keep you broke. I'm Caribbean, right? I'm Caribbean. And my immediate family does not do this, but I've had extended family ask me to send things and send me money, and they just think that because you're in a better financial position that you should be doing that out of obligation as family, but also that you have the resources to do it. But they don't understand sometimes with more money comes more expenses, meaning that if you see this nice house have a bill attached to it, you know? And but Jay-Z said that you cannot help the poor and be one of them.
That's right.
So I think that is a huge issue within our community. I think they call it the black tax. The black tax, when the person who ascends, who goes to college or wherever, have a business and becomes successful, now all the other family members look to this one person to financially lift them up. And I remember my dad telling me something like this. He was saying that, Athena, these are grown adult people. These are not children.
Yes.
So you putting money over there is like taking money and throwing out the window. They're not going to change. They're not going to elevate. It's just going to be a one direction. And I think that is something within the Black community we have to deal with. I think Trevor Noah also talked about how his mother never did that and gave him the grace of that. To avoid the black tax is what they call that. There's a pink tax for women too now. That's a whole separate other tax, right? Because the pink tax is for similar products that men have. We are charged more. So like razors and certain things, like the same kind of product, it's more pricey because women are most of the spenders, have most of the purchasing power in the household, and we consume mostly. So that's the other tax we have to pay. So Black women have the black and the pink tax.
Which means anxiety.
Yes, a lot of financial anxiety, right?
2 in 5 women experience financial stress and anxiety.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, women aren't the only ones on OnlyFans. Did y'all know, Tyga, DJ Khaled, what is Fat Joe doing on OnlyFans? Michael B. Jordan. Oh, for real? He on OnlyFans? I might have to get an account. Michael B. Jordan's on OnlyFans. Okay. Well, we see the rapper Casanova also on OnlyFans. What do these men be doing on there?
Showing that thing. They be showing that thing. That's what they be doing on there.
Lord have mercy. Oh my gosh. Okay, so Camille Wimbush is $4 million richer than Dee Dee Davis.
Isn't Dee Dee also on OnlyFans? Or no?
No, the other person that did porno was Rudy, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. Rudy from the Cosby Show. I know she.
No.
Didn't she do porno?
No. It's the girl that you're looking at.
Yeah, I think it was Dee Dee.
It's Dee Dee.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no.
Baby girl from the Bird and Max show.
Rudy still be working on TV, girl.
Wait,
don't do that to Rudy.
Oh, okay, my bad. I thought Rudy, somebody did some porno. I'm gonna look it up because it was
she didn't do porno.
She didn't? Okay, my bad.
No.
Oops. Okay. Correction, delete, cancel. However, there's a lot of people showing a lot of stuff on the internet, basically, is a thing. But when they show these things on the internet, they're making a bunch of money. Bad Baby. Wow. Is that it? Right, girl? Yeah. 59 million. Am I reading this right?
Yes, you are reading it right.
Black China, she's from DC. Millions. We talked about her. Cardi B, 46 million. Oh my gosh, I know that girl. What's that girl name? Suki Hana is on OnlyFans. All of these people are on there and they are making a lot of money.
They be showing too much. Can I get on OnlyFans and show my toes?
So let me say, are they doing like, is it like pornographic stuff or is it just like peep show stuff?
They showing that thing. You cannot get on OnlyFans and just be like teasing, like, I'm gonna show you a strap of my bra and make $59 million. You can't do it. It's not a real thing.
This is crazy.
It's like, you want to see my arm?
Like, that's what Camille Wimbush is saying. She says she's just wearing lingerie. She's wearing stuff that she would wear on like a women's magazine, like a what kind of women's magazine?
Who said that?
Not Playboy. Camille Wimbush. That's what she was saying. She's like, she's covered up. She's like slightly like lingerie, stuff like that. Her parts are covered, because her criticism was, why is it such an issue she does it on OnlyFans when actors and actresses insinuate and stimulate sexual and nude scenes in movies? She was like, what's the difference?
That's true. I thought she was popping that thing. Listen, I've never been to her page. I don't think I'm going to get on OnlyFans to see what she's doing. I mean, I just, like you said, there's an assumption that, like, you know, if you're making that much money, then you must be doing something risque to do it.
Oh my goodness, y'all. What do y'all think in the chat? If you're just tuning in, we are having this risque. I guess I should just use that word again. You just heard it. We're having a risque conversation about OnlyFans. We're having this conversation because Bernie Mac star Camille Wimbush, who is absolutely gorgeous and extremely talented, grew up as a child actor on the Bernie Mac show, went viral this week saying that she was explaining like, hey, like those Hollywood checks from my childhood and dried up. So I'm gonna go over ahead to this platform and I'm making money. And then she explained her reasons, her business, her financial reasons behind it. So we've covered this conversation here today on our Fly Nubian Money panel, and we've discussed the financial aspects of it, the educational or financial literacy aspects. We've talked about the generational wealth aspect. We talked about the female empowerment aspect of this conversation as well. And then we also had Tiara, who has lived in Hollywood for over 20 years and definitely does work in the industry, has a daughter in the industry, in the acting industry, discuss what it's really like with these closed doors and kind of coming up against brick walls. So this has been really, really informative. I know I've learned a lot because I just really didn't know that people were making this amount of money on OnlyFans. But as we close out, I want to have a conversation about, ladies, the glamorization of sex work. Is this something constructive that is needed in our community or in society in general? And what are your thoughts on that? I know that while I was living in New York, there was a whole movement, and the movement has caught on nationally to have rights and work like unions for men and women who are sex workers. And so it's a whole industry. I know when I was growing up and when our parents were growing up, it was basically seen as prostitution. It wasn't acceptable. But do we feel like platforms such as OnlyFans glamorizes sex work? And what do you think the impact is on the Black community, specifically our children? Because kids be looking at this stuff.
For sure. Do you want to answer that first, Athena?
Sure, I'll answer. So, yeah, so I think that OnlyFans could be glamorizing sex work. I think sex work has a lot of dangers. I have watched a lot of documentaries and I've actually talked to women who engage in such activities, and it's very dangerous. You are risking your life. You're risking your body to disease. You're risking this person wanting to kill you after. You're risking this person threatening your life and because you ask them to pay what their agreed upon price or whatever it is, right? So I have a lot of compassion for women in that situation. I never used to, but I found that they usually get into those things because they have no financial support, no family support, really, really broken homes, really, really bad situations, and they're just in a state of survival and risk their lives with strangers. Like, I couldn't even imagine. I don't even want to do anything with anybody when I'm tired, much less having to be forced to do anything to eat or like with someone I would even consider attractive. OnlyFans, I think, this touches on something Camille said, because she said if she can do it from the comfort and safety of her home, why not? So I think it has opened the door to provide and commercialize sex work in a way where they don't have to take on that much risk. But I think in general, within the state of this society, especially here in America, we need to figure out what we're going to do as far as the sex industry is concerned. It doesn't seem, I mean, that industry has been the oldest industry in time. It doesn't seem like it's going to go away. And it's a product that sells itself, and it wouldn't be around if people weren't interested in engaging in it. So we need to have some kind of legislation around safety around it, but also the legality of it, because it's a thin line, because one person can do porn, but another person can't do, we need to look at ourselves as a society as we're judging people, because we basically support and financially back those activities. Not saying me, but I'm just saying, like, as a general public.
I know that Pornhub is, if not the second, it's the third most visited site in the world, right? So we know that people are interested in it. There's just, I mean, there's men watch porn, women watch porn. The dangers is, like you said, Athena, it's not really regulated in a way, right? If you're on Pornhub, most people like then connect their OnlyFans to that. And then, like, there's like, if you want to subscribe, it's a thing. I'm big on documentary. I love documentaries. I make documentaries. And I've just been looking at, like, lately, I've been watching a lot of like BBL stuff, and black women or women talking about why they're getting their bodies done, particularly in our community, because there's been a I want to say there was like a 30% spike in the last like 5 years, right? Where, now, yesterday I just watched something and a girl was just talking about like all of her friends had BBLs. Like, I was in Pittsburgh last week talking to my cousin. She was like, all of my friends have BBLs, right? Obviously I'm in the place where I feel like it all started, where, at first you would be like, dang, I wonder how Cher stays so young. You didn't think that people would go and get like an afternoon like tip tuck and then go back to work. Like, you didn't think, it wasn't so accessible to us. But I guess my point is, and all of them saying is, like, there are repercussions of like women want to get BBLs and do those things so they can make the fast money, right? It's not like Camille wasn't making money. She was making money, like teaching dance and doing ice cream or whatever. It just wasn't giving her Hollywood money. It wasn't giving her the fast money that comes along with like an OnlyFans. $360 million from Black China on OnlyFans over a course of a couple years is fast money. Like, you can't argue with that. A 9 to 5 can't give that to you. And so there's a part of me, and I know you were saying that there are women that are, I mean, now I'm seeing professionals. I'm watching documentaries with professional women who are lawyers that do, OnlyFans at night. They're like, man, I'm making more during the, at night, then, like, why am I going to the firm during the day? So professional women are now even seeing, like, I'm making more money in a couple months than I would make in a year at my firm. So it's not just women who are broken and have gone through trauma. Professional women are now looking towards platforms like these. And so I just think it's interesting. I think when I think about stuff like this, it's like, would I want my daughter to know I had an OnlyFans? Would I want my family, would that make me feel like um I sold myself out, like Suki says, like I was selling coochie. Like, to me, in my mind, that's like selling coochie. I don't know. So I just can't be in the same place as a Suki Hana or like a Sexy Red. Like, I can't. I'm not that. I went to school. I'm a respectable woman. I can't do that. So that's the way I feel about it. You know.
Agreed. Listen, what I will say is adults can do whatever they do in America as long as it's not hurting anybody. And these platforms definitely do need to be regulated, and because we need to make sure children do not have access to this stuff. I am a strong advocate of censorship for children in social media. Definitely Pornhub needs to be regulated. I know there's some legislation on the books. I believe it's in the state of Florida, one of the southern states that, was it Texas? I believe it could be Texas. I think it's Texas that literally banned OnlyFans from there. And I saw another country, I believe it was Italy, country in Europe, I believe it was Italy, y'all can look this up, that is also blocking and banning OnlyFans. And fun sex fact, because I guess we're just talking about risque stuff as we wrap this panel up. Shout out to y'all. If I knew Nubian Money is happy over here, apparently.
Bow, 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 bow,
bow, bow, bow.
So did y'all understand, you know, that Elon Musk has these satellites over the planet, and he gave a country, a remote tribe in a remote part of the world, in a very indigenous population, they got the internet for the first time. And now they are literally addicted to pornography. And there's interviews about it. You heard about that, Tiara?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, and then I read a whole bunch of stuff because, I'm a Black revolutionary for real, about pornography as a weapon of psychological warfare. So, and how, governments and operations definitely use pornographic images, pornography, porn addiction, sex addiction, etc., in order to destabilize populations. And so we want to have a whole conspiracy theory talk later on about these issues. We can definitely do that. That's why y'all need to text the word Queens to the number 87948 so you can be notified when we do talk about stuff that you're interested in right here at Fly Nubian Money, weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern Time at Fly Nubian Queen TV's network's YouTube channel. So we're going to go around and just give some final words, big takeaways. I want to shout out the chat. Shout out you ladies for joining today. Would love to hear your final thoughts as well as where we can follow you. Let's start with Miss Tiara.
Yeah, I was looking at the chat, and Primo Supreme says I need a sinus surgery. I am sick. I came on. I am sick. I am being nursed back to health.
And
I
we're
am
glad
being
that
nursed
you're
back to
here.
health. I was actually at the hospital yesterday, so I just wanted to come on and have this conversation. I'm definitely recovering. So, but thank you for your concern. I appreciate that. I don't usually sound like this, but I think this has been a great discussion about I don't know if sex work or OnlyFans will ever stop existing, right? I don't know if that, if it's not OnlyFans, it'll be something else. Um, and I guess that's America, right? Or I guess that's the place where everybody can have the freedom to do what we have our own free will. We can do what we got to do, and there's options there for women to do what they got to do. If Camille needs money and all the other ways don't feel like they suffice for her, she has an option to make money that feels safe for her. Like she said, she can get a home, so God bless her. I can be found at Miss Black Hollywood. That's MSBLACK Hollywood on all social media platforms. Yeah, I'll let you girl.
Absolutely. Thank you, Athena.
We talked about a lot today. I want to also throw out this fun fact that the owner of Pornhub is a rabbi, a religious man, Solomon Friedman.
Yep, I heard about that. Yep.
Oh.
So it's very interesting who's in charge of the things we do in a society. Anyway, I know we discussed a lot of things and a lot of financial things. I think this segment should just remind us the importance of investing, taking care of ourselves, our own income, creating diversified income streams, creating a life, monetizing our talents. And that is what I offer to my clients and the women who sign up for my programs and coach with me. My name is Athena Gardner. I'm a CPA and a women's wealth coach. You can find me at wewealthwomen.com, at We Wealth Women on all social media platforms, and on my podcast called We Wealth Women.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I am Jade Harrell. I'm an educator, and you can find me at highblackesteem.com. I do coaching for activists and organizers, Black folks who have businesses that are interested in becoming philanthropists and who are interested in service and giving back to our community. So if you're interested in learning more about that, definitely go over there. My big takeaways, first of all, I want to apologize to Rudy again. I do apologize. I wanted to retract that statement. I got her mixed up. And it doesn't really matter really what people do in their life, honestly, because people grow. Like, I'm not the same person I was 5 years ago or 10 years ago or whatever. And people make decisions based off of the information and the knowledge and wisdom that they have in the moment, and they choose to do what they do. I'm not here to pass judgment on this topic. My main concern about platforms such as OnlyFans, Pornhub, etc., is the examples that it sets for our children, because they have access to the World Wide Web. And as an educator, I know what that looks like on a day-to-day basis when children are overly exposed to inappropriate content that is not age appropriate and that is not developmentally appropriate. And so I would urge society to make sure that we protect the sensibilities of children. So that is my main takeaway. But in terms of Camille, she's gorgeous. She's extremely talented. She's doing OnlyFans. That's her choice. If she feels comfortable and safe with it, hey, who am I to judge it? I just know that all of that content gets to be censored so that our children are not impacted by it. And that's not directed towards her, but just the industry in general. So I want to thank everybody for showing up today and coming to this panel. If you like this content, if you like the subject matter today, definitely share it. Post comments under the thread. And definitely text the word Queens to the number 87948. That way you'll be notified when we do go live on the platform. And join us here weekdays again at 1 p.m. Eastern Time at Fly Nubian Queen TV's YouTube channel. Until next time, y'all, take care, peace and Black power, all the things. Thanks, ladies, for a risque conversation. Thank you. All right.